Okay, we seem to be getting some breaking news as far as the Pathankot investigations in Pakistan are concerned. There is some honest admission taking place in Pakistan at this moment, but how serious are they is the big question that we are asking. Now, a day after Pakistan detained JeM Chief, Pakistan media reports suggest that senior government officials have admitted that the 6 attackers of Pathankot infiltrated into India from Pakistan. Islamabad officials said when comprehensive investigations will start, other intelligence organizations and law enforcement agencies will become part of a joint investigation. That's a big breaking news story that we are tracking at this moment, where Pakistani media sources at present are saying that, in fact, reports suggesting that senior government officials in Pakistan have admitted that the 6 attackers of Pathankot infiltrated into India from Pakistan. This morning, joining us this morning is Smita Sharma. She gets us all the latest. Morning, Smita. First of all, you know, as far as Pakistan media reports are concerned, which suggest or quote certain officials as saying that they agree that these terrorists did come into India or infiltrate into India from Pakistan. I'm just assuming, and if you could also shed some light on this, I'm just assuming that officially Pakistan is never going to say something like this. They have never done that in the past. They will never do it in the future. But what is the sense that you are getting from the Indian establishment? Is there a sense of cautious optimism, greeting with skepticism, complete cynicism? What exactly is the Indian government thinking and doing with this particular step taken by Pakistan?
Well, good morning, Sanket. You know, as far as Pakistan's track record on terror is concerned, yes, there's just so much to question. Perhaps that is the reason why it forms the basis of all the skepticism that we see amongst Indians here. But having said that, you know, while they have not done certain things in the past, will they not do certain things in the future? That is perhaps not a guarantee anybody can take, because there have been significant differences. The reason why the mood in South Block or the mood in Jawaharlal Nehru Bhavan is slightly more optimistic, despite of course no official intimation yet of any of these arrests made or of the JeM Chief Masood Azhar being detained, is because they see a perceptive difference in the way previous attacks were handled by Pakistan, say the Mumbai terror attacks or even the recent Gurdaspur attacks, where Islamabad from the word go completely went on a denial mode, saying that these were not Pakistanis or saying that these were of course baseless allegations being leveled by India. Here, absolutely from day one, we have seen Pakistan trying to sound receptive to what India is saying, be it Nawaz Sharif picking up a phone talking to Narendra Modi, or that high-level meeting yesterday which was actually attended by the Chief of Army Staff and the DG ISI as well. And which is why when last time during the Mumbai attacks, remember, when then NSA, Mr. Durrani actually came out and said that the ISI chief would be going to India for further investigations, very soon he lost his job. But in yesterday's press release after that meeting, which had the army and the ISI component, it was said that they would consider in trying it to look into more leads, perhaps sending an SIT into India. These are significant differences which perhaps are the reasons why India would be willing at trying to take forward the dialogue process, even if there is no official confirmation at some point in time about Masood Azhar's detention.
Absolutely. Smita, do stay on with us. We'll be having Indian experts, Pakistani experts, and also our colleague from Islamabad, Kaswar Kalasara, joining us through the course of this broadcast. Continuous coverage, the best coverage that you can find on Maulana Masood Azhar's arrest right here on India Today. Let's introduce Kaswar Kalasara at this moment, who joins us from Islamabad. Kaswar, if you can hear me, the latest news that is coming in now is that Pak media is reporting that government sources have told them that they agree that these terrorists were from the Jaish-e-Mohammed. They actually infiltrated into India from Pakistan. Is there an official confirmation to this? Because if that is the case, this will be the first big admission, and it will actually mean a lot, given Pakistan's track record in dealing with terror.
Yes, definitely. You rightly mentioned, quoting Pakistani media, that six of the terrorists infiltrate from Pakistani side to Indian side to carry out the attack. So definitely this is going to be, if true, this is going to be a big, huge, let me say, it's not the big, it's a huge admission that one of the premier newspaper, that is the News International, is reporting at the moment that, quoting its sources, that 6 terrorists infiltrated to from Pakistani side to the Indian side, and definitely to carry out the attack on Pathankot, definitely. And one thing I would like to mention here, this is what exactly the Al-Qalam online, that is believed to be the mouthpiece of Jaish-e-Mohammed, this is what exactly the same mouthpiece of Jaish-e-Mohammed stated 3 or 4 days back. The detail that was given by this mouthpiece, by this Al-Qalam online, it's a website that is under construction now. Definitely they have removed the material from that side as well. That is, we can say that it has been blocked right now. So exactly after 3 days, one of the premium newspaper, that is the News International, has come up with the same story, admitting, quoting its sources, that the 6 terrorists infiltrated from Pakistani side to the Indian side, believably to carry out the attack. So, as you have rightly mentioned, this is going to be the big, huge admittal, but we will have to see the government reaction on this news
but that's
item
the
as
problem.
well.
No, Kaswar, that is the problem, that sources may say whatever they want to, but will there be an official admission? Because an official admission also comes with it some official embarrassment at the international level. So far, Pakistani establishment or the state actors have always denied involvement. The reports or the information that India is getting, and let me get in Smita on this. Smita, the Indian agencies, the establishment has always maintained that these operators have not been able to operate without the assistance and able guidance of the state actors. For instance, these terrorists, there was information that they were trained in an air base. They had military precision in carrying out this attack.
Well, Sanket, I would once again like to try and take you back to the Mumbai attacks in the aftermath of the 26/11 horrendous bloodshed. If you remember, initially when Pakistan completely went into denial even about Ajmal Kasab, while it was Pakistani media that had managed to reach into the village of Kasab. And because that was a massacre where we saw so much of, bloodshed and blood loss also of foreign citizens, not just Indians, of Americans, of other nationalities that had died. So ultimately, because of the international pressure, Rahman Malik, who was then the interior minister, and they had to admit the links and about all these people being how they had actually used Pakistani soil to launch these terror attacks. So we have seen those faces in Pakistan, which is why perhaps there is just so much of questions that do arise. But for India, really, because NSA Ajit Doval was in Paris, he comes back today. Late last evening, of course, we were out till almost midnight because we had those series of deliberations that we saw first at Sushma Swaraj's residence after Foreign Secretary came back from Colombo. Then the two of them went in and had almost more than 2.5 hours of meeting with Prime Minister Modi at 7 Racecourse Road. So India is obviously taking everything with a pinch of salt as well. It's watching everything very cautiously, waiting for official intimations, because only then will these claims be provided some sort of a legitimacy. It's not just news reports that can actually endorse these claims, but they do think that at least the tone and tenor of the kind of statements that are being made from Pakistan, they seem to be just a little bit more sincere this time around.
Okay, Smita as well as Kaswar, do stay on with us. At this moment, we are also joined in by Mr. Rajiv Dogra, as a former diplomat, as well as Sultan Ali, strategic affairs expert from Pakistan. We'll come across to the both of you in just a short moment. Let's quickly, Mr. Dogra as well as Mr. Ali, do stay on with us. We are coming back to you in just a short moment. But a day after Pakistan actually detained Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar, Pakistan media reports, as we told you, have suggested that senior government officials have admitted that the 6 attackers of Pathankot infiltrated into India from Pakistan. Islamabad officials said when comprehensive investigations will start, other intelligence organizations and law enforcement agencies will become part of a joint investigation. He said that those in connection with the Pathankot attack are just suspects, and it is not easy to say anything definite on the basis of information gleaned from them. Therefore, it is wrong to say that the attackers had crossed into India from Pakistan. So pretty much on expected lines, what we were expecting, that's exactly what has happened. Let's quickly listen in to a few reactions that have taken place, and also The future of the foreign secretary level talks, which are scheduled for tomorrow, that will also be decided. In all possibility, in all certainty, it now appears, sources say, that foreign secretary level talks are likely to be rescheduled and are likely to be held after Republic Day. Official sources have told India today that while India wants concrete action against Masood Azhar, India sees other positive signs in Pakistan's action which could lay the ground for future dialogue. Meanwhile, a final decision on the talks is expected later today after the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval returns from Paris. The Ministry of External Affairs is likely to hold a briefing to announce this decision.
पाकिस्तान गवर्नमेंट ने कहा है कि एक्शन लेंगे, तो ये तो पहली बार हुआ ना। पहली बार ये हुआ कि पाकिस्तान का जो मौजूदा सरकार है वो कह रहे हैं कि हम इसमें कार्रवाई करेंगे। ये अपने आप में एक उपलब्धि है, पहले तो बिल्कुल डिनाई करते थे।
now gone to meet the Prime Minister.
Yes, EM has now gone to meet the Prime Minister. The decision on the foreign secretary level talks will only be taken after that meeting.
मैं सकारात्मक इस कदम को कहता हूं और मैं चाहूंगा कि प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी से इल्तिजा करूंगा कि ये मौलाना मजहर वही है जो भगौड़ा है हिंदुस्तान से और जिसको अफगानिस्तान कांधार में रिहा किया गया था। इसको तत्काल अगर वहां डिटेन किया गया है, अगला कदम होना चाहिए कि इसको वापस हिंदुस्तान मंगाया जाए और इस पे सख्त से सख्त कार्रवाई की जाए।
Let's now introduce our guests this morning. Rajiv Dogra, former diplomat from the national capital, and Sultan Ali, strategic affairs expert from Pakistan. Thanks very much to you gentlemen for joining us. Mr. Dogra, if you heard what RPN Singh of the Congress party said, you know, let's take our viewers back to 1999. The by now infamous Kandahar hijack of IC-814. Maulana Masood Azhar is the same man who had to be given to these terrorists for the life of all those people. Literally, there was an exchange that happened. Technically, if he has been caught in Pakistan, there should be a diplomatic effort to get him back to India, for starters, instead of seeing this as some great achievement by Pakistan.
Well, you're absolutely right that Maulana, I won't call him Maulana because Maulana is a respectable term. Masood Azhar, I would just call him Masood Azhar. Masood Azhar slipped out of India through the force of ISI, because remember that plane hijacking was not done by just a bunch of novices. It was done at the instance and with the full cooperation of ISI, and it was ISI which brought Masood Azhar from Kandahar onto Pakistan. So they had supported him, helped him, cooperated with him in 1999, and they are doing so even this time. That has not been said only by the Indian analysts and commentators, but also by US. Well-known commentators have said there's a clear ISI hand in what happened at Pathankot. So I would take the reports coming in from sources in Pakistan with a pinch of salt, because there's no official confirmation as yet from Pakistan government on whether Masood Azhar has been arrested. The reports say that he has been taken into protective custody. Protective custody is a very, very ambiguous term. He's been protected against and from whom? So, and custody means nothing. It doesn't mean that he's been charged with anything. So, let's be careful in reading too much into what is coming out of various so-called sources.
But Mr. Dogra, won't you be surprised then if people like Minister of State for Home, Mr. Kiran Rijiju said, look, they were always in denial mode. At least they are now willing to act. Isn't this an achievement? The biggest fear at this moment among a section of the people, and I want your view before I go across to Mr. Hali, is the fact that the government is too eager and too convinced that yes, this is a great act.
Well, let me put the record straight. After 26/11 also, they arrested Hafiz Saeed and they arrested Lakhvi. In fact, they were put in jail for some time. So, to say that it has never happened before, I think is factually incorrect.
Yes.
And after Parliament attack also, the same person, Masood Azhar, was also arrested and put in custody. So there have been other occasions in the past where Pakistan has, for the time being, to assuage temporarily the world opinion or India, taken some action to arrest or detain. But then the same persons were released. So let's not read too much into the arrest or action and so on, because so far there is no word that actual action has been taken.
Absolutely.
And as I said, even if action has been taken, for how long?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Let's not.
Mr. Dogra, let's get in a perspective from across the border. Mr. Sultan Ali, thanks for patiently listening to what Mr. Rajiv Dogra was saying. I want to know your view. How do you think India should be seeing this? I mean, we've once bitten and, too many times bitten and too shy now.
Well, I get your point, and I see where you're coming from, and I can also feel your pain, your angst, and your anguish. But you see, there are certain things which are definitely changed and definitely new. After the attack on your parliament, what happened was that Indian forces were put on high alert. They were amassed on the Pakistani border, and we went into a state of tension for nearly about 10 months. Mumbai attack also. Yes, the people were put under arrest, but India was extremely angry. You tried a probe mission before a surgical strike and so on. And this time around, from the very word go, it has been a matter of reciprocation from our side. Our Foreign Office issued an instant statement. Our Prime Minister called your Prime Minister, and then we had a formal meeting to look into the leads that you have provided. A committee was set up by the Prime Minister. And if Maulana, or let's call him only Masood Azhar, has been put under preventive custody, because that is the first step. The leads are there, but we have to ensure that that it is concrete evidence to charge him. I would say
the problem, Mr. Ali. Mr. Ali, sorry, I'm interrupting you here, but do you see the problem? How eerily similar this is to 2611. This is exactly the line of argument that was taken in the case of Zakir Rahman Lakhvi also. That let's put him into custody, let's get in more evidence, because that is the process of the law. Then dossiers after dossiers, truck full of dossiers have been given. You say that the evidence is not enough, and then eventually he comes out like some sort of a martyr out of the court. That is the fear.
No, you see, you didn't allow me to complete. What I'm trying to say is that, you see, currently there is an aura of understanding between the two prime ministers. In fact, they are both stakeholders in the peace process, and that is why they are taking extreme steps in which the army chief and the chief of the ISI are on board. A committee has been set up, and hopefully a committee will also be visiting Pathankot to look at more evidences. And over here, we are not looking at it with skepticism. We are looking at it as hope. You see, Masood Azhar on his website, which was mentioned by Rauf Kalasra also, and this website has now been blocked probably by the government of Pakistan, he writes under the pen name of Saidi, and he threatened the government of Pakistan. He said that the action which the government of Pakistan is taking is extremely dangerous, and Pakistan, probably between the lines, Pakistan will have to pay for it. So Pakistan is very clear in its mind where it is going, and I believe you don't have to trust us fully, you have to verify, but you have to be patient. And I'm personally very sanguine about the processes going forward.
Well, Mr. Ali, and I'm sure Mr. Dogra will also be able to bail me out on this. Patience is something, and tolerance is something which India has shown towards terrorism for a very, very long time. There was 2611, there were various attacks before that. There have been various attacks after 2611. There's the Pathankot attack now. It's patience and diplomacy which has been practiced again and again and again by India, to a point where the Prime Minister also flew in to Pakistan with that olive branch. Now, if this is also not patience, then what is? Mr. Ali as well as Mr. Dogra, thanks very much for joining us this morning. It was great talking to you at this moment and get some perspective from both Indian perspective, Indian point of view, and also how it is perceived. This particular arrest or this particular detention of Masood Azhar is being perceived in Pakistan. We are stopping for a short break here on First Up 9 AM Live. When we come back, the investigations being carried out against terrorist elements reportedly linked to the Pathankot incident, unquote. Pakistan says Based on the initial investigations in Pakistan and the information provided, several individuals belong
to come up on stage from Amita University and present a small token of our appreciation to Mr. Sindhya and the Honourable Minister.